So it is Friday night and it's been a long time. No purple tree in the back, which means that's in the yard. It's Halloween time, which is why I've not been talking about wine, really thinking too much about wine. It's been all about Halloween for about 3 weeks, posting videos on a different channel, Omaha Haunt, and enjoying that. Creating some homemade decorations, decorating as we do every year, trying to change it up just a bit. Can't change up everything, but change up just enough stuff, add a little bit of new stuff. Anyway, I've been also under the weather. I am drinking a little bit tonight. It's just some sake. This is a very basic sake. Drink it chilled. It's called Living Jewel. I think it's under $15, I think, for someone that's never had sake. Doesn't know if they like it or not. This is a good start to see if you like a clean sake. It's kind of clear. And then there's one called, gosh, I'm blanking on the name. I think it's Snow Maiden or something along those lines, and a little milkier, the Nagori style, and there's more sediment and it's sweeter, milkier. And now we try those too. And if you don't like sake, I typically like it with sushi. That's pretty much all I ever pair it with. Although I just have a little bit left, so I'm just going to have it as I just do sort of I have an unboxing of sorts. So I got some wine from Silver Thread, some wine from Obsidian, two of the places I continue to have a wine subscription from. And then I'm going to talk about two other wines, just for three of the wines. Just one I bought, well, one I've had that I took out, and one I just want to talk about in general, just because of the style, and it might be interesting to people to try that type of style or try that type of wine. So just go with some unboxing. So Silver Thread from the Finger Lakes. I buy mostly Riesling. I do love aged Riesling, but these are their current vintages. This is the 2023 Standard Riesling Reserve. Don't know much about it except that I got a bunch of these. So I do like having some younger Rieslings just to go through when I want them. And this is their single vineyard, Gridley Bluff, 2023 Riesling. 2024, a little bit younger. They're what they call dry Riesling. And this is their 2023 Estate Vineyard Riesling, so their own property. And there should be a Dauphiné, yeah. So one of the oldest, I think it's not, if not the oldest vineyard in the Finger Lakes for Riesling, Dauphiné, and I typically really like all the Rieslings that come out of this vineyard. They produce some, and so does Damiani. So there's 5 bottles. I typically have to get 6, and then I got a rosé. I do love rosé. I barely drank any rosé this summer, considering how much I drank probably last summer. I drank a lot more white wine this summer. This is a 2024 dry rosé made from Pinot Noir, so very, very lighter, delicate style of rosé. I do always like having a rosé. I think it pairs really well with things like barbecue. I don't know really why, but it does pair with things like barbecue. Even though it's a dry rosé, a little bit of the texture and the acidity help a little bit with some of the sometimes sweeter-ish barbecue sauces and glazes and things of that nature. I mean, and I'm talking smoked meats barbecue, not barbecuing a burger on the grill. I mean, rosé probably goes well with that too. Obsidian. What do I have? What did I get? So it looks like there's 6 of these as well. This is their standard bottling. They changed the name a number of vintages ago. This is the 2022 Volcanic Estate. I think it's $35. Fantastic. Volcanic soil. What is it? Lake County. Really great cab. I think this is fantastic. I think when it was under $30, it was a steal. Now at $35, I know it's only $6 more, but it does kind of price it a little into that 35 to 40 category, and that changes its competition. And I always get a few of them. I think they're always worth having. How many did I get? Just 2. So I got a few others. This is the Slope. This is all cab 2022 and higher end version of their cab. I don't think this is anything except Cabernet in it, but I'm not 100%, and I'm pretty sure I got 2 of those. So a step above and quality and in price. Okay. And what else? Syrah. So I don't think I've ever had the Cinders. If I have, I don't remember. I love Syrah. And I love it from the Northern Rhone, specifically Hermitage, Côte-Rôtie, Cornas. 3 of the regions in the Northern Rhone that I prefer Syrah from. Syrah aka Shiraz. Same exact grape in Australia. Makes some amazing wine. Also, not as I don't have as many options to buy some of those amazing Shiraz Syrah from Australia in the United States. I just don't see enough of them. Fair bit of the Northern Rhone, plus the Northern Rhone is so small compared to Australia's wine region, and anytime you see Côte Rôtie or Hermitage or Cornas, you're going to pay a little bit more, and it's going to be quality almost no matter what because of what you're going to pay. There are some very inexpensive, real shit Australian Shiraz, as we know, some with animals on them, although that is much less popular, and I'm glad to see that. So I don't think I've had this, but I do love California and Washington State Syrah. It does get more unctuous and bigger and bolder than, well, Cornas does have bigger and bolder, but there's a different quality. There's a feral quality and a, what's the other word I'm blanking on right this minute? Herbal for sure, and rustic quality to those wines compared to these, which may be a little bit more darker berried and bigger, bolder, and juicier. Those have a little bit more depth in a different way that might not strike everyone's palate the same. So California Syrah, most definitely different than Northern Rhone Syrah. Interesting thing, when I was taking interesting for me, when I was taking one of my wine classes, I don't remember which one, pretty sure it was Wine Spirit Education Trust Level 3. One of the first couple sessions, our instructor put out a bunch of wines. We kind of had to guess what they were. What she had done is she had paired the same grape but from different places. We didn't know this. And the first wine tasted so green. I still remember this. To this day, I thought it was Carmenere. Carmenere to me is one of the only grapes that's out of Chile that could be that green. And Carmenere used to be grown a fair bit in Bordeaux. It's still allowed in Bordeaux, but barely anyone puts it in their blends. It became more popular in Chile, and they have some good versions, but a lot of it is so green and green pepper that I can't stand it. The cheaper versions. There's something called Purple Angel that's fantastic, and that has pretty much no green, which is capsicum, green pepper, and very little of that. The second wine that night, I didn't guess that. I guessed Carmenere. We were doing it in groups. One of the people in my group said, I think this is Syrah, maybe Shiraz. He might have said Australian. I'm not sure. And I said, I don't know, maybe. We went to the next wine. And maybe we did know they were pairs, maybe we didn't. And somebody was saying, okay, I think I got it now. Sorry, I got the story wrong. But the first wine, I said Carmenere, a few other people said other things. The next wine, one of my partners said Syrah. And I said, if there's no way this is Syrah, this is no California or Australian Syrah I'm aware of. And I said, if this is a Syrah, it's got to be a Northern Rhone, like a Hermitage and Côte Rôtie. Ironically, it ended up being Hermitage. I was right, although I didn't actually guess that. So as much as I said it in discussion, I wish I would have stuck to it. I didn't, because I was playing the game of, well, if this is Carmenere, where's this Carmenere wine from? And I couldn't get anywhere. The first one actually ended up being Australian Shiraz that I thought was crap, all green pepper, terrible tasting. So don't know really why I went on that tangent, but I did anyway. So this is Obsidian's Black Bear Petit Verdot. Very rare to find a 100% Petit Verdot because it's a blending grape typically. Of the people that have done it, and I've tasted it, it's been fantastic. There's a big write-up back here. I don't know if it says anything interesting. 2 acres only. And that's exactly what you would expect. Only 14 barrels made. So this is a Bordeaux varietal that's used under 5%. This is 100%. I've had some 100% Petit Verdots, and I absolutely love them. Curious to see how this is. I may have bought it from them before in the past. I don't really remember. So we'll give it another shot. What else did I want to talk about? I pulled this wine out to take to a dinner, and it's Chateau Cantemerle, and I'm always looking for a Bordeaux that's punching above its weight. And this is, I think, one of them now. So this is a 5th growth. Pontet Canet used to be the one that was in 5th growth that I would say was this, but that's when Pontet Canet was $50. Now it's way over 100. This one is sub 50 still. Now this is a 2016, so it's got some age. And 2016 was a great vintage out of the out of the left bank, which is a cab heavy Bordeaux. And I really like this. Now in some vintages, it's a little austere and it hasn't been fantastic. Well, I've never really had a bad Pontet Canet vintage, I think, ever. This is a little bit, I've had some vintages that I wasn't so thrilled with. I think the 15 and 16s that I've had were fantastic. Maybe it just needs a little time to settle. But my favorite fifth growth in the price point right now, I feel like this is a little bit of a hidden gem for me. And I've been waiting for the right vintage and then the right price to buy a case. I just haven't found the right vintage, haven't found the right price quite yet. So I want to talk about a certain wine. And this is very inexpensive, which was the point. It was 20 bucks, under 20 bucks. And it's a Ripasso style. So what the heck does that even mean? So really what this is what they call baby Amarone. Amarone being in the, and I'm blanking on the region in Italy right now. But what they do is they dry out those grapes and they concentrate the sugars. And they have been making these very bold wines, not inky black bold, but high alcohol wines, probably medium acidity, that have a pruny, raisiny taste to them, but they're 15, 16, 70%, 17% alcohol. Big, bold wines in that regard, that they're very flavorful. They were once very popular. I don't think Amarone is nearly as popular. Well, they're always a little bit more money. They can go, the good ones start at 50. You really need to pay 50, 60, 70 to get a good one, and then they obviously get higher. What they do is with the leftovers of the vinification of Amarone, they run this wine through it, and they call it Ripasso, which is like a repass, like pass over again. And these are typically solid for the price. They'll be a little bit bolder than your average. So this is Valpolicella, and the Ripasso style of Valpolicella. Now the grapes in here are CRM. Corvina, Rondinella, Molinaro. Typically, I know there's some new grapes that fit into the category that I'm not remembering at this moment, but those were the big three. So it's not really about the grapes as much as about what they're making with it. So this Amarone, they're using the byproduct of that to then run this Valpolicella, which is, so there's Valpolicella, which is a CRM, but there's really not much to it. It's very basic and kind of thin, acidic, not fantastic, but decent with food. Then I think Ripasso is way better. I prefer those to go above, but this is Ripasso of Valpolicella. And then you have the Amarone. So I feel like this is a good bargain wine to try. Not all of them are created equal. Some Ripassos just suck. That's just the truth. So, I don't know. Just wanted to talk a little bit about that. I don't know this one specifically. Be curious to try it, see if it's a good one. I like having a few Ripassos, and when I don't want a Sangio, and every so often I'm in the mood for that kind of Amarone, that big, bold, there's almost like a almond-like bitterness to it, but then there's the dark fruit and the fig and the raisins, and it just, sometimes I'm just in the mood for it. Not a lot. Like I said, that style has kind of gotten out of fashion, but it's something I still desire. So this I found. This is 2022 Chateau Clainet, Pomerol, right bank. So this was in a movie, and I forget the movie. Totally blanking on the movie, which kind of ruins the story. But this is a $150 Bordeaux that I've wanted to try for a while. 2022 is a fantastic vintage out of the right bank, Pomerol being one of the regions of the right bank. So right bank being heavy, Cab Franc, Merlot. I'm not sure what's more in this specifically, Cab Franc or Merlot. But, and I don't think it even will say it, but a wine I've had on my wish list for a while. I've really wanted to try it. So excited that one day I'll be opening that. It's definitely, and it's very, very young still. So just to give you an example, the 2021 right next to it was $100, and this one for 2022, because it's a much better vintage, like by leaps and bounds. The 2021 versus 22 in the right bank of Bordeaux was a big leap in quality in most magazines and published ratings. So add another $50. We'll see. I am anxiously, I'm going to be a little bit impatient to open that. I probably will open that in the next year or 2 if I could even wait that long. So that's it. These are some of the wines I bought. Haven't been drinking a whole heck of a lot. Oh, one other one I could talk about really quick. Douro. This wine's actually pretty solid. This bottle's actually cheap looking. Crasso Superior from the Douro region of Portugal. Douro, Portugal, 30 bucks, under 25 to $30. You find a Douro, yeah, it's grapes you're never gonna have heard of. Touriga Nacional, Touriga Franca, Tinto Roriz. It doesn't matter. They're just, it's a typically well-made wine, and they're making, and it's not, Portugal's not just about port wine anymore. Douro's a great region, and a lot of bigger, bolder reds. A little bit of a crapshoot. I can't tell you that I know all of them. I know this is not bad for the price. So you start with something inexpensive like this, and if you like it, you start buying up and up and up, and you get to something like Crescia, which is a fantastic Portuguese red wine. It's my favorite I've had to date, and it's somewhere in the $70 ballpark now. So, a lot to say, and I will get back to some wine videos after Halloween is over. Another bottle I bought. Bourbon, though. So, this is Rebel Yell, and I watched a video on YouTube, and I've always loved Pappy Van Winkle. I could certainly talk about Pappy Van Winkle for ages. I could also talk about Weller, and Weller 12 used to be my house pour, and I won't even tell you how much I used to pay for it when I used to buy it. So inexpensively now, it's a lot more money. I still think it's a fantastic bourbon, as long as you're not paying through the nose. Blanton's, on the other hand, is, I can't even understand the price point. It's insane, especially for a non-age statement bourbon to be that much money. So somebody said to me, or I read, watched the video, that Rebel 10 is similar in taste profile to Weller 12, and half the money. All those things are true, minus I've not tasted this. So we'll see. I don't think I know much about Rebel Yell, to be honest, at all. But I'm always looking for some bourbon alternatives. Bourbon has just gotten so expensive. It confuses the heck out of me since corn is very inexpensive. Nice bottle. Corn is very inexpensive in this country, and yet these bourbons, these whiskeys, are now far more expensive than Scotch, which used to be the more expensive one. I am now looking for many, many alternatives, which I found in the world of spirits, be it aged rum. I feel like cognac, Armagnacs are out of favor. Those are fantastic if you like brandies, which is aged grape distillate. Bourbon being mostly distilled corn, with then the second ingredient being rye or wheat, typically, and then barley. But Scotch being barley as the number one. So there's, pick your poison when it comes to a brown liquor that's aged for a pretty long time and it has a certain taste profile. Tequilas too, añejo, obviously they're distilled from blue agave, the plant. It is not a cactus, it's a plant. So a lot of different spirits out there to explore and not get caught up in the bourbon craze. Although if you love it, you love it. So who am I to tell you not to go for what you love? But there's a lot of great bourbons out there for good prices. I had the double from Woodford. I know it's a couple $100. That bourbon's like candy. It's delicious. It's like dessert in a bottle. Fantastic. I'll probably end up buying one just because how good it is. All right. All over the place today. We did wine. We talked about sake. We talked about bourbon. We talked about some other distillates. It's out of control. But we'll get back to it after Halloween. If I don't do another video until then, happy Halloween and have a good night.